So, good morning, everyone. My topic this morning is the challenge of envy. We talked about on Saturday with cynicism, got me thinking about this topic and how so much of what we deal with in the world is about competition and achievement. And with that being the overlay, how easy it is to slip into the trap of envy. And envy, as you know, it's a feeling of discontentment or covetousness with regard to someone else's advantage, successes, possessions, all of those things, which can really corrode our own happiness and strain our relationships with others with whom uh, about whom we envy. So I want to talk about envy, but I also want to talk this morning about gratitude as a powerful antidote to envy. By focusing on and appreciating the positive aspects of our lives, gratitude can help transform our perspective, fostering uh, contentment and diminishing the grip of envy. I don't need to tell you that envy is all about the ego, me, mine, my status, my things, how I am in the pecking order. But the downside is it's a significant source of suffering because there's always someone that's going to outdo us. We're never going to have enough. We're always going to want what someone else has. And, and envy arises from a judging comparative mindset, one in which our self worth is measured against the perceived successes or possessions of others. So we're always using that sort of social yardstick when we're thinking about what someone else has that we don't. One of my favorite quotes about this issue of comparing is attributed to Teddy Roosevelt, and it is comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. I think there's so much wisdom in that. Because comparing often leads to feelings of inadequacy, resentment, because we're focusing on what we lack rather than what we have. So envy thrives on a perception of scarcity or a fear of scarcity, operating under belief that there's a finite amount of success or happiness that's available, that whatever you have takes away from what I might have. And where we really see this more recently, it's a huge source of envy among young people, which creates tremendous suffering. And, this concept of FOMA, fear of missing out. Young people are always online worrying about, oh, I didn't get invited to that party, or I don't have that new pair of sneakers, or whatever. And social media has just taken it to the next level. And envy assumes a zero-sum world where my successes are only the product of your failures, or vice versa. My possessions are only the product of your scarcity. So it's a zero-sum game. And this blinds us to our own accomplishments, to the blessings in our lives, and leads to this cycle of perpetual dissatisfaction. And I need not tell you that this perpetual dissatisfaction is yet another form of suffering. Gratitude, on the other hand, encourages an abundance mindset. It shifts the focus from what is lacking in my life to what is present and available in my life, which fosters an appreciation for the myriad of blessings that we have. They're everywhere. We just have to notice them because we too often take them for granted. Now, to be clear, gratitude is not just this fleeting feeling of thankfulness. It's a practice, it's an intention that involves recognizing and acknowledging the goodness in our lives. And, and often this goodness is external to ourselves, sometimes it's internal, but it requires a conscious effort, a conscious intention to notice and appreciate the positive rather than taking it for granted. Too often we just take for granted the good stuff. So we have to set an intention to notice all the blessings in our lives, to practice gratitude. It's not just going to fall in our lap. We're just not going to automatically recognize it. This practice of gratitude has profound psychological benefits that counteract these corrosive effects of envy. It's really the counterpoint. Gratitude and envy are really counterpoints. And the Buddha clearly understood this 2,600 years ago because he spent so much time in his teachings talking about gratitude. And we know, and again, here we go again, modern psychology has confirmed this, especially the field of positive psychology, which suggests that gratitude increases well being, it increases life satisfaction while reducing the toxic emotions of envy and resentment. And we also know that when individuals, this is from studies that have been done, when individuals practice gratitude on a daily basis, they're more likely to experience positive emotions, greater contentment, feel more alive, express more compassion, express more kindness in their lives. All qualities that are important to this path. And these benefits arise because neuroscience tells us that because of neuroplasticity, gratitude literally helps rewire the brain to focus on the positive aspects, leading to a more optimistic and grounded outlook on life. And it enhances self-esteem. Think about that, which is eroded by envy. I mean, with envy, I'm always less than. I wish I had what you had. I don't have enough. I'm not enough, and on and on. The result of envy is that we feel less than. But when we're grateful, we're more likely to appreciate our own value, our own achievements, rather than always comparing ourselves unfavorably to others. And this sense of self-worth reduces the need, if there's the antidote, reduces the need to measure ourselves against others. It weakens the hold of envy. By recognizing our own successes, all the gifts in our life, and the support that we receive from others, we cultivate a sense of pride and contentment of who we are and what we have achieved without having to compare it. We stand alone with our own satisfaction. You know, and here again, there's nothing wrong, believe me, I don't mean to imply there's anything wrong with success or achievement. It's a wonderful part of life. But if we cling to it or grasp after it as a means of satisfying the ego or beating or besting the other person, that's when it gets problematic. Oh, I did better than you. I am better than you. But without the grasping and clinging and using it as a stick to beat someone with, success and achievement are one of life's greatest gifts. I mean, it's a wonderful source of satisfaction. And furthermore, gratitude fosters a sense of connectivity and strengthens our relationships. By taking some of the competition and comparing out of my relationship with you, it's easier we can connect more deeply, we can have a stronger relationship, we can bring vulnerability. Vulnerability is not going to rear its head when we're in an envious state. It's because we're all about competition and winning. Envy leads to isolation for the reasons I just said. We resent the success of others. We withdraw emotionally. We don't want to compare. Whereas gratitude encourages us to appreciate others, express thankfulness for their presence in our lives, for their contribution to our lives, and fosters a sense of community, which in turn strengthens social bonds, creates a supportive and nurturing environment that is less conducive to envy. When we feel connected and supported, we are less likely to compare ourselves to others in ways that are harmful. We don't need it. We have enough what we call emotional supply. We don't need to do all that comparing. And as we often talk about here, gratitude can be cultivated through various each of which serves each of which serves to weaken envy's grip. You know, one effective approach, and it's a pretty simple one, is an intentional gratitude practice where every day we spend a little time bringing to mind the things we're thankful for. You know, I've some time ago I started this practice where I spend 5 or 10 minutes every morning reminding myself of the things in my life for which I'm grateful, the things which I think are gifts and blessings. And each morning it's different. You don't want it to become rote. You don't want to just become, tossing off three or four things. You want to reflect on it a little bit. You want to think about, well, let me think about what am I grateful today? And believe me, once you pay attention to that, you will find there is a vast number of things to be grateful for. And the beauty of this is it sets the tone for the day. It just starts us off on that foot. It encourages mindfulness and reflection, helps us notice and appreciate those positive aspects of our lives, which otherwise we might overlook or just blow past. In other words, it changes the lens through which we see the world. It really does. And in addition, when we express gratitude directly to others, and this is an important one, this practice costs us nothing other than making the effort, getting our ego out of the way, and it reinforces positive relationships. It deepens our connections. So it's really important to let others know how we appreciate them, how we appreciate the gift of them in our lives. And I really love that in terms of strengthening relationships. And we use other tools of our practice, focusing on the present moment, accepting it without judgment, all in the interest of becoming more aware of our thoughts and emotions, especially those related to envy. We want to notice envy when it arises so we can confront it, so we don't just get caught up in the wave that sweeps us away. Because once we start noticing, I promise you, you will be amazed at how often envy arises. You see someone with a nice new car. Oh, I wish I had that car. Or just on and on. Or all the stuff on TV. Oh, I wish I had that. Boy, that would make me more a cooler person or whatever. This awareness allows us to consciously redirect our focus toward gratitude away from envy, which reinforces those positive neural pathways and reduces that automatic tendency to compare ourselves to others. And there is tremendous freedom in reducing our tendency toward envy. Is we don't waste mental energy worrying about keeping up with the Joneses. As Joe said earlier, making sure that their landscaping is as nice, if not nicer, than the next door neighbors. Um, Another strategy, is to incorporate gratitude, as I said, into our daily lives. What I call moments of gratitude. I wear a wrist mala. It's like a string around the finger to remind me when I look at it or notice it's on my wrist to engage in this and other practices. Simple acts, just taking a pause, a moment of gratitude to appreciate a beautiful sunset, a delicious meal, a colleague's help. Anything that cultivates a new habit of mind to see that gratitude permeates all aspects of our lives. It's everywhere. We just have to pay attention. So anything that you can do to just, you can put a little ding on your phone, on your watch or whatever, to just pause for that moment. It takes 30 seconds to just pay attention to something in that moment for which you're grateful. Over time, this habit shifts the default mindset, our normal default mindset of scarcity and competition, to one of abundance and appreciation. And despite the clear benefits of gratitude, remember that it's not always easy in a culture that emphasizes material success, individual achievement, competition, and all the things that we sort of swim against. That's why it requires a deliberate effort to counteract these ingrained patterns of thinking and to resist the cultural pressures that fuel envy. But the rewards of cultivating gratitude are profound. They offer a path to greater contentment, greater fulfillment, and more peace in our lives. So, in closing, let me just sum up and say that gratitude serves as a powerful antidote to envy by shifting our focus from scarcity to abundance, enhancing our self esteem, and strengthening our relationships. By setting that intention, we cultivate a gratitude mindset that reduces the grip of envy, fosters more contentment, and more fulfillment in life. And in a world that often encourages comparison and competition, gratitude is a transformative path to inner peace, contentment, and reduced suffering. So we not only enrich our own lives, but we contribute to a more compassionate and connected world where envy has less room to thrive. So that is the challenge of envy.